Hey Ma, do you know what bursts my bubble?
What bursts your bubble?
Being naive in sexual situations when you're younger. So, obviously, certain people mature faster when it comes to romantic relationships, right?
They do. Well, usually women do.
Yeah. I'm thinking back to my early 20s, where I was weak, vulnerable, naive, gullible. And I'm thinking back to people who were clearly sexual predators, like middle-aged men, like creepy middle-aged men who were befriending me since I didn't really fit in at work. And, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, this guy was clearly a sexual predator who had, sketchy intentions.
Yeah, you got to be careful with that because, that happens.
Yeah, and I'm like rereading, some of the texts and blog posts that I wrote back in those days. And, the red flags were just like really blatant that this guy was a sexual predator. I mean, even at the time, I knew this guy was creepy and weird.
You did.
I mean, even, yeah. Let's just call this guy, Alex for the sake of, Alex Ice. And I actually even wrote the FBI about this guy, or America's Most Wanted. And remember they actually even called the house?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, they called me at work.
Oh, they called me initially because I was the one who submitted the tip, about this guy being, because my imagination was running wild about this guy, and I was thinking to myself, this guy was, a fugitive on the run, because he looked like he had been just released from prison in a lot of ways, and he was befriending me and making me feel good about myself, telling me I was going to be a future millionaire, you know what I mean? And
yeah, they know exactly what to say to...
Yeah, I mean, the guy was clearly a predator, who is trying to victimize me.
Thank goodness that you didn't trust him.
Yeah, I mean, and he looked like he had HIV, or God knows what this guy looked like he had. And I remember he was constantly cutting himself at work around me, almost trying to bleed on me. You know what I mean? I swear to God. This guy, he was bleeding, almost, too much. It was almost like he was trying to, infect me with something. And I just was just naive, gullible, innocent at the time. It was really, sometimes, what you have to teach, if you're in your early 20s, the entire world isn't necessarily rainbows and butterflies. I mean, there are sexual predators who could, do nefarious things like try to infect you with an STD or, something like...
Or take advantage of you.
Or some disease, or take advantage of you, just rape you, basically. And I actually gave him actually my last day of work in 2009, I actually gave him a ride home from work once. And I remember he was, and I remember like I would walk past his house and like he was like indicating like he was going to shove me in front of traffic and just like he was just a real creep, this Alex Ice, and he basically wanted to rape me. He wanted to, and I suspect he had something like HIV, and he wanted to infect me with that. I mean, maybe he had hepatitis, God knows what he had. And I was basically a virgin. I was a virgin in those days. And, he wanted to hurt me. And, fortunately for me, then nothing happened. To my knowledge, maybe he spit in my food or something, but we never got sexual or anything like that,
Well, thank goodness you didn't. You knew your instinct.
My instinct was telling me this guy was like a serial killer, and that's why I wrote the FBI about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know what to say at the time, but my instinct was telling me this guy was a sexual predator, and that's exactly what he was.
And that's why you avoided him.
Right.
Thank goodness.
And that is what it is.